Hello, I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and this is the Pipebomb. The Divas Revolution, trademark, officially began on July 13th this year with the debut on Raw of Charlotte, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, three, quote, legitimate athletes whose objective was to shake up both the kayfabe existing hierarchies of the Divas division, but also the meta-perception that fans have of the legitimacy of women's wrestling in general. For WWE to congratulate themselves on staging a Divas Revolution, trademark, is somewhat hypocritical. After all, what is being revoluted against other than the expectations of women's wrestling that have been ingrained into the audience by none other than WWE themselves? For years, nay decades, Vince & Co. have treated women's wrestling as a novelty, a one-off sideshow attraction on the card. More often than not, the female talent in WWE are utilised as bikini contest entrants first, managers' wives or girlfriends second, and finally, begrudgingly, as competitors. Once a night, an entire gender of athletes would find themselves being represented by a single match, and sometimes that match would be a bra and panties match. Out come the women, say the WWE, to put on a show. It's their turn, and aren't they beautiful? These special lady matches would often act as the bridge between two other more important matches in a card structuring technique designed to allow time for the audience to recharge or use the facilities, hence the fan term often given to a Divas encounter, the toilet break match. And sometimes, if it's an important pay-per-view like a WrestleMania or Survivor Series, they'll throw every woman they can find in the ring for a battle royale or something. Out come the women, say WWE over the unfocused maelstrom of slapping and hair pulling. All the women we have. It's not to say there haven't been bright spots in WWE's history like Alundra Blaze, Trish Stratus, Lita and Chyna, but since the rise of the Diva era, trademark, things have deteriorated massively. And it doesn't help that the Divas Championship looks like a college girl's first drunken tattoo, or that most female feuds for the last decade have revolved around a man, or bullying, or crying, or bitches being cray-cray, or just generally being infantilized as mean girls rather than adults. They are, and it's a horrible word, divas. In February of this year, the allotted Divas match on Raw ran insultingly short, a tag match with Paige and Emma being defeated by the Bella Twins in exactly 30 seconds, and it gave rise to the hashtag Give Divas a Chance. Now, society has been shifting the last few years with ever-increasing scrutiny across all media on the entrenched gap in gender inequality, and Give Divas a Chance was shared so much it even caught the attention of Big Vinnie Mac himself. What happened? The Divas matches started getting longer, and now here we are at the Divas Revolution, trademark. Has it worked? No, not really. It was exciting when it started, sure, and it's still marvellous to see Sasha and Charlotte be welcomed by the fans, but the storyline has lost a ton of momentum since July, and despite title changes and Ric Flair and all of that, the whole thing has a staleness to it. And this is not because WWE's corporate brand activism has always felt forced and inorganic, but because the company hasn't really changed its stance on women's wrestling. They're all still packaged under the incredibly broad and nebulous banner, women, and with all their women issues wrapped up in one weekly segment. Out come the women, say WWE, still fighting for a goddamn pink butterfly. Look around the industry and you can find entire promotions dedicated to women's wrestling. You've got JWP or Ice Ribbon in Japan, and promotions in America like Shimmer, Shine, WSU, and the now defunct Wrestlicious, which was founded by a teenage boy who won the lottery. No, seriously. Heck, even TNA, the perpetual scrappy to WWE's Scooby, have the Knockouts division, which for years outclassed the WWE Divas at every turn. Gail Kim and Awesome Kong for TNA, Maria Kanellis for Ring of Honor. Divas tend to do much better work after leaving WWE than when they were there, and WWE is supposed to be the promised land for wrestlers. But it's not. Because WWE cannot work out how to present an actual women's division made up of nuanced individuals and serious motivations, which is criminal. Because first of all, the company has been doing wrestling for ages, so it should know how to do it by now. And second of all, in NXT, a women's revolution has already happened. After all, the reason why everyone was so excited for the angle in the first place was because Charlotte, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks all came from NXT, which has been quietly pumping out the best women's wrestling in the world. Sasha Banks and Bayley just main evented a live special for NXT in a 30-minute Iron Woman match. That sounds nuts. But when you think about it, it's nuts that sounds nuts. NXT have stumbled onto a stupidly simple formula. Book the angle as if it's starring two men, change their names to Bayley and Sasha Banks, and you're done. Also, they hired Sarah Del Rey, the first female training coach WWE has ever employed. The horrible irony is that by creating the trademark Divas Revolution trademark, the WWE is in danger of destroying the actual revolution in women's wrestling. By taking all of its women and trying to push them all at the same time in a 9-woman struggle for the microphone, it stripped every individual involved of their characters and created a sanctimonious, repetitive mess that's damaging to everyone. Sasha has faded into the background, ditto Becky Lynch, and Charlotte's just been reduced to being Ric Flair's daughter. A division is made up of characters, and woman isn't a character. Stone Cold, Mankind, The Undertaker, The Rock were all incredibly different characters. They weren't just men. Apart from cosmetic costume ticks, what separates Naomi from Nikki Bella, Sasha Banks from Alicia Fox? What separates Becky Lynch from Charlotte? On NXT you'd know, but on the main roster they've just become a homogenous mass of women. I'm not trying to explain the concept of women here, I'm trying to explain simple booking. Tell us who the characters are and tell us what they're fighting for, and we'll root for them. Stop making it so hard to listen. After the last 2 Bayley vs Sasha Banks matches, there are just no excuses anymore. The only time that the Divas Revolution trademark has come alive is when it focused on Nikki Bella versus Charlotte, when the production team were given the space to create video packages and stories for 2 divas. Just 2. Good versus evil, a record-breaking champion versus a plucky new challenger. The audience understood this. It wasn't too noisy. We could invest. But now it's denigrated back to squabbling again. PCP versus Bad versus Bellas versus PCP versus Kill Me versus Bellas versus Bad versus PPP, and on it goes. Sticking all of your women in one corner and calling that the Revolution corner isn't equality. It's WWE saying, out come the women. Look at all the women we have. So that's what I think on the Divas Revolution. What do you think? Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and you can even follow me on Twitter here. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and that was the Pipe Bomb.